Welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan Lugo. Thank you so much for tuning in. Jaguars rookie minicamp does kick off today, Friday, May 12th. But before we get to that, we've got to talk about the Jaguars 2023 schedule release. If you do want a rookie minicamp preview, dropped one yesterday. You can go check it out. Right now, we're talking Jaguars 2023 schedule was released Thursday night at 8 p.m. along with the rest of the league. Jaguars did a great job with their schedule release video, did a really funny skit with Asher Grodman, who is a Jaguars fan through and through, also a pretty big time actor at this point. He's been on Ghost for some time on CBS, so really cool video. If you have not checked that out, encourage you to go do that. A lot of funny videos from around the web with these different NFL social media teams and digital teams putting together these things. So kudos to them. Awesome stuff. But getting into this schedule for the Jaguars are going to have the spotlight on them a lot in 2023, a lot more than they have in over a decade, right? 5 national TV games where they are the only game on television. London twice in the morning, again, week 4 and week 5 versus the Falcons at the Bills. And then they have Sunday night football against the Ravens. They have Monday night football against the Bengals. They have Thursday night football against the Saints. They're going to be on TV a ton. About a third of their games this year are going to be the only game on, the only game you can watch. So there's going to be more eyes on the Jaguars from a fan perspective. Nationally, there's going to be more eyes on the Jaguars from a media perspective. People are going to have Jaguars front of mind a lot more than they have in the past. And you could potentially have even more in terms of national games with late season flexes, right? You could see maybe the Titans game get flexed. Certainly, I think that would be the most likely depending on how things are going with the 2 football teams. But 5 national TV games right now scheduled for the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's huge. Just going to have a lot more attention on them. And I think this is a group with Doug Peterson at the helm, with Trevor Lawrence at quarterback as a leader. I think that this group can definitely handle a little bit more attention. I think you saw that late in the season last year. I think you saw that in the playoffs. So yeah, good stuff for the Jaguars on that front, no doubt about it. Week 9 bye, I think you can definitely live with that in middle of the season, right? Better than super early in the year where you'd have to go play like 10, 11 games in a row. And having a bye week in week 9 before you host the 49ers in Jacksonville Week 10, I think, is huge. The 49ers are one of the best teams in football, maybe the best team in the NFC. I think they believe that if Brock Purdy didn't get hurt last year, if he was fully healthy in that NFC championship, that they would have beaten the Philadelphia Eagles in that game. So that's a tough team, a really talented team, a well-coached team. I think having a bye week prior to that matchup is huge. And it's a team that you're not as familiar with, right? NFC team. Some of these AFC teams, you've played them over the last couple years and you have a little bit more familiarity. No West Coast trips. Furthest west the Jaguars will go is Houston, and they go to Houston every year. That bodes well for the Jaguars, in my opinion. Obviously, you have the big trip to London, but at least you've been there. You've done that. And you have 2 straight games there. One of those games, you will have been in London for a week where the Bills will be coming over there and having to kind of adjust on the fly. So I think that bodes well for the Jaguars. The fact that they don't have any West Coast trips. This is a team that is notoriously poor on the West Coast. And so not having to go out there, avoiding that potential pitfall, I think is definitely good for the Jaguars. We already knew this, but their toughest games on paper this year are almost all at home. And if they're not at home, it's a neutral site, right? You look at playing the Chiefs in week 2. That's in Jacksonville, right? At Bills, that's in London. So it's not really at Bills. It's in London. Really more of a neutral site or potential advantage for the Jaguars when you talk about that one. Again, 49ers coming to Jacksonville after a bye week. That sets up nicely for you. Bengals in Jacksonville on Monday Night Football, Week 13. Ravens in Jacksonville on Sunday Night Football, Week 15. So you see all these teams in the AFC that you're going to be competing with potentially for playoff seeding, and you're hosting them all. And if you're not hosting them, you're playing the Bills in London, which I think you can feel pretty good about. You'd much rather play the Bills in London than in Buffalo, no question. Both Titans games, per usual, back half of the season, so that rivalry is going to continue to impact standings late in the year. They're finishing at Tennessee. The Titans, of course, came to Jacksonville in Week 18 in 2022. This year, Jags traveling up to Nashville to take on the Titans in Week 18, a rivalry that will continue to have a major impact on the standings. What's the toughest stretch of this schedule for the Jaguars? I think there's a couple little stretches you could look at, but for me, it's 3 straight games against the AFC North. You have, starting in Week 13, again, the Bengals, Monday Night Football in Jacksonville, then at Browns, Week 14, then Sunday Night Football at home against the Ravens. The good thing about that is 2 of those games are at home and on primetime and what should be in front of what should be raucous crowds for the Jaguars. So not too concerning, but when you look through this schedule, I think that is the toughest stretch. Maybe you could say at Saints, at Steelers, then the bye, then 49ers and Titans, but I think the bye helps out there a lot. I think the Titans aren't the scariest team on the planet on paper. Of course, they could always be competitive under Mike Vrabel. They still have Ryan Tannehill. They still have Derrick Henry. Added a lot to that offensive line. But yeah, for me, it's definitely going to be weeks 13 through 15 facing all those AFC North teams. They're tough. They're talented. But good thing, again, is 2 of those 3 games are at home on primetime. I think playing the Colts early is probably good. They did that last year as well. Week 1 at Colts and then Week 6 versus the Colts. I think that's good because I think, if you're going to play Anthony Richardson during his rookie year, and we don't even know when he's going to get in the game, I tend to believe he will get into the lineup quickly for the Colts, overtaking Gardner Minshew. But I think you'd rather play him earlier in the season before he figures everything out. Because if Anthony Richardson does get it figured out in Shane Steichen's offense, which is going to be designed around his skill set, his legs and his massive arm, if he does figure that out, it could be a really tough out. So I think playing them early on is advantageous. And look, final thought here, any season where you play the top 3, maybe 4 teams in your conference and then one of the top 2 teams in the other conference, you're going to have some challenges and hurdles to overcome. But the way this whole schedule fits together could not be more advantageous. Like with these set of opponents that the Jaguars have in 2023, with knowing prior to this who their home opponents were going to be, who their away opponents were going to be, this could not have lined up any better for the Jaguars. Again, you are at home against the Chiefs. That's beneficial. You don't want to go into Arrowhead and have to play them. When you're playing at the Bills, it's actually in London. That is beneficial for you. When you're playing the Bengals, it's at home. Monday Night Football. When you're playing the Ravens, it's at home. Sunday Night Football. You're playing the 49ers. Not only is it at home, it's coming off a bye week. So look, nothing is written in stone yet. We know the Jaguars are talented. We know they have a great young quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. We know they have a great head coach in Doug Peterson. I'm not making any massive sweeping predictions right now, but this is a schedule that is advantageously set up for the Jaguars with the opponents that they have on the schedule. That'll do it here for my 2023 Jacksonville Jaguars schedule release review. Thought it was a lot of fun. Thought the Jaguars did a great job with their release. Good job around the NFL overall. But excited to see how it all plays out here this coming fall. Hit me up on Twitter at Jordan DeLugo. Let me know what you think about the Jaguars 2023 schedule. You can also hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Drop a comment in the comment section on YouTube. And if you're on your podcast platform of choice, please subscribe and review. Y'all have a good one, Duval.